this thing that you feel. We were so in phase, in a dance hall days. We were good on grace. When you, and everyone we knew would believe, do, share what was true. I said, dance all days long. Take your baby by the hair, pull her close and there. Take your baby by the ears and play upon her darkest fears. We were so in phase, in a dance all days. We were good on grace. When you, and everyone we knew, we believed, share what was true. I said, dance all days long, dance all days, dance all days long. Take your baby by the wrist, and in her mouth an amethyst, and in her eyes just sapphire's blue. And you need her and she needs you. 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 We was up in phase, in a dance hall days. We were good on grace. When you, and everyone we knew would believe, do, share what was true. I said, dance all days long. Dance all days long. Dance all days. Dance all days long. Wow! Dance all days.
We never answered that question. We never answered it in the 80s, and we're never going to answer it. So.
We met through the Melody Maker. I put an ad in the Melody Maker, and whenever it was, in the 70s sometime, put all the money I had into this big ad trying to get a band together, and Jack was foolish enough to apply, and he stood out from everyone like totally the only really good one that I saw. So that was it. We sort of I had this sort of chord sequence worked out for people to try and play, and Jack sort of got it like that, and he was clearly the best person, so that was the beginning of it all.
The actual writing of the song, I remember I was it was sort of early days when we were working together, and we had a sort of we'd had a record deal with Arista, but we weren't making any money, so I was still doing some teaching. And I remember I used to teach guitar in this school in South London, and this kid didn't show up for their lesson, and I remember coming up with the chords for Dance All Days during that lesson and sort of sketching out the song really in that sort of 20 minutes. So thank you to that child who didn't show up. But the story of Dance All Days, I guess, when I reflect on it these days, it's connected with the fact that a lot of my early experience of playing music was in my father's band. He and I did quite a lot of gigs with him in that place, and Dance All Days has that nostalgic feel, and I think Dance All Days is connected with that.
It was a very crucial track for Wang Chung. Had promised a lot but hadn't really delivered any sort of commercial success. So we were sort of on the verge of maybe being dropped by Arista Records, and our 15 or 10 minutes of almost fame being over. So when Jack playing it to me, it was like really clear that it was something special. It literally was the cavalry coming over the hill of our career and pulling everything out, and everything was sort of successful after that. We'd been on the verge of being dropped by Arista. Things were looking a bit bleak. Jack came up with Dance All Days. Suddenly everything shifted. It was a great timing as well. There was what was called the British invasion. A lot of English bands were making interesting videos, and this sort of English sound of mixing sort of dance music, synthesizers, sampling, and guitars, and traditional sort of mainstream kind of rock music all came together for us. So to be signed in by Geffen, who were a very hot label at the time, was brilliant for us and completely changed everything.
It's always good to hear the songs used in movies and hear it on the radio, you know. And we've been very fortunate with getting, syncs in movies over the years. So it's great.
Just heard that we're in a new movie. What's it called? What's it called? Transformers. It's called Bumblebee. We just heard Dance All Days is going to be in that. We've been in Walking Dead again, recently. Space Junk, and on Saturday Night Live, and all sorts of stuff just happening in the last few weeks, so it's very active, very good for us.
I remember during the 90s, I worked producing some bands. Actually, Nick was working for a label, and he would send stuff in my direction, and I was working producing this band, and it was a particularly difficult kind of like end period of this project that I was working on, and I was like, I'd been up for a couple of nights where it felt like that, and I was very kind of dishevelled, and I went into this pizza restaurant in Notting Hill and sort of sat down, and as I sat down, Everybody Had Fun Tonight started playing in this restaurant like quite loud, and the waitress came over to me, and I wanted to say to her, I wrote this song, but I thought they'd just throw me out if I started playing it, so I just ordered a pizza.
Actually, I've got quite a good story. It's like 80s cruise, it was called, around the Caribbean and stuff. And so it's a cruise full of 80s fans. And suddenly Everybody Had Fun Tonight was played by the DJ. And I literally was accosted by 10 people. They all just dragged me onto the dance floor, forced me to dance to my own song, and everyone was, of course, videoing it with their phones and sticking it. I don't think I've ever been so embarrassed and so uncool in my whole life, and that's saying something. We played it to a producer of the album for which we were going to put it on, and he was like, I love this song, Everybody Have Fun Tonight, but it's much too slow. And that ad-lib that Jack does of Everybody Have Fun Tonight, Everybody Wang Chung Tonight, just make that the chorus. That should be the chorus. It should be much faster.
It's supposed to be ironic, do you know what I mean? It's let everybody have Wang Chung Tonight. That's just in there while we think up the proper lyrics.
But he was so enthusiastic about it, so we went off and rewrote it, and eventually we came up with it. It's one of the most spontaneous bits of work we've ever done, really. The rest is
notoriety.
Yes. PR.
Pure luck.
It's amazing, actually, how it's endured.
I think though that there's a lot of people who really love the 80s as a period of music, and I can see that it was a time when crafting a pop song was a sort of serious thing, and I think because of the way the technology was in those days, which is like the early days of computers and sampling and drum machines, there was this, albeit misguided, sense that you could make the sort of perfect pop record. But I think it does give the music a certain kind of durability. Everyone was really into writing quality songs, or that's what we were trying to do.
It sort of works so well in movies, on adverts. It remains in the culture, so younger people will hear Everybody Have Fun Tonight or Dance All Days in a movie, or Space Junk in Walking Dead or whatever. That's clearly still an influence for younger musicians and writers and producers, so that they're sort of using those sort of sounds in contemporary music. So the sound, it still sounds relevant today.
Yeah.
If you go to wangchung.com, you'll see, I particularly like the fact that everybody Wang Chung tonight, or the expression to Wang Chung. We put this reel on our on wangchung.com of it's called Can You Tell Me What a Wang Chung Is? And it's like a load of mentions where Wang Chung gets mentioned as like punchlines in big movies or TV shows. So I don't know what's the favourite one. I remember I used to work at Warner Brothers as an A&R guy, and Warner Brothers was doing the soundtrack to Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me. I didn't know anything about it other than I really like Austin Powers. There was a scene where Dr. Evil is sort of demonstrating his, new special ray thing, and basically his son kind of references Wang Chung. Quite a moment. I was quite proud of that. That's a movable feast. But right now, thanks to this album, What We Are Doing, this orchestral album, my favourite track is Fun Tonight Reprise, which is previously known as Fun Tonight The Early Years, which is on our Greatest Hits album. It's the early demo of what became Everybody Have Fun Tonight. Jack, what's your favourite Wang Chung track?
My favourite Wang Chung track today is The World in Which We Live. It's a track on Mosaic, a track that we never really sort of developed, I don't think. Although we did play it live, apparently. I don't recall that, but we did play it live.
Absolutely, yes. We were told to say yes, but actually we were going to say yes anyway, because we do have plans. We're thinking maybe of sort of collaborating with other sort of artists, other bands, and maybe doing orchestral shows with them as well. So that could be interesting.